This is Apple's official clear case, which unfortunately comes with this extremely ugly white ring on the back. I mean, the least Apple could do is match the color of this ring to the color of the iPhone, right? Nope, they don't. So in this video, I will show you 7 clear cases without MagSafe, ranging from as cheap as $1 to as much as $25. And I've bought all of them with my own money, so everything's completely unsponsored. So let's answer the question if spending more money on a case is actually worth it, and if there are any differences at all. Yo, what's up guys? My name's Rob, and on this channel we cover all things Apple, cameras and accessories. Especially for creators, by the way, so if that's interesting to you, hit subscribe. But now, let's jump in. So we are starting with some of the cheaper cases and then work our way up to the more expensive ones. And to save you time, I'm going to put the first 4 cheap cases together because they are all what I would call AliExpress quality. And while I paid a little bit more for them, which I'll explain in a second, you can definitely find them for like 99 cents or even less if you buy more than one. So the cheapest one I have here is the Emodil Clear Case, which came in at $4.08. Next, we have the T. Tursley Crystal Clear Case, which came in at $6.90. And then the other two are the YoYoTech Hardback Slim Case for $12.25 and the U-Green Clear Case for $12.88. All of them come in very cheap packaging, usually plastic, and many of them don't even have any branding on them, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, and you'll see why in just a minute. They all have this new camera control, but as a cutout though, unlike the original Apple case, which I think uses a piece of like metal or glass to protect it from the outside. This is much more complicated tech, which I think the cheaper case makers will either not be able to do for a while, or it will take them a while to figure it out. But here's the thing with these 99-cent cases. I can guarantee that they will all discolor faster than your laundry when you accidentally left in a red sock. They are all made from this like cheap plastic that you can bend, which is not a bad thing because it gives you quite a good grip. But at the same time, it is definitely the cheapest way to make a clear case. And among all of these 4 cases, there's really just 2 differences. The first one is the YoYoTech one. And the main difference here is that it has a harder back than the other cases. But it is nowhere near as hard as the Apple original or the other cases that we'll talk about next. And the other one is this one from U-Green, which has a much more complex camera cutout, if that makes sense. But I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest. And here is a secret bonus case, which I think could be a solid option, but strictly speaking, it is not quite a clear case, but hear me out. So this is the G-Tech or JetTech Ultra Slim case for $9.35. As the name suggests, it is an ultra slim case. And while it is translucent, it is not quite a clear case, but I thought it was interesting enough, so I wanted to include it. But if you do decide to go cheap, I would say go ultra cheap. Don't be like this guy and buy these cases off Amazon because they are just like the AliExpress cases, but sold for like 5, 10 or 20 times the original price. You're much better off just going directly to sites like AliExpress or Temu. But here's the thing, if you spend like $1,000 or $1,500 on a brand new, beautiful iPhone, do you really want to put a case for 99 cents on it? I know that I wouldn't, so let's look at some cases that might actually be worth the money, and in the end I'll tell you which one is my favorite. So this is Spiegen's Liquid Crystal Case, which comes in at $19.04. Spigen actually makes a second clear case, and we'll talk about that one in a minute, but this one is the cheaper one of the two. And when you unbox it, you can immediately see that you get just a little bit more. Not only is the box made from recycled paper, but inside I was surprised to find a wet wipe, instructions on how to use it, and get just the most out of it for your new iPhone. And the case itself is solid. It's made from the soft and bendy plastic, which makes it very, very grippy, but I will say that it just feels higher quality. And I guarantee that even if there was no branding on it, you would definitely be able to tell that this is a much more expensive case. A big bonus of these more expensive cases is that they often come with some anti-yellowing processing, which in my experience won't keep them entirely clear, but it will drastically extend their lifetime. There is a problem though, because Spigen made some really weird design choices here. Let me know if you disagree with this, but I think that if you make a clear case for an iPhone that doesn't have MagSafe, then you make it for a very specific segment of the iPhone market. And that's people that are into aesthetics and that don't like big branding or logos. So I have to wonder, why would Spigen print text on almost every side of this case? First, you have the obvious Spigen logo on the side, which, you know what, fair enough. Every brand has their logo and they want to promote it. It's not too bad. But then you flip it around and you see that there's some model number printed on the case. Why? And as if that was not enough, then you look at the top of the case and you see yet another text imprint saying air cushion technology, whatever that means. This is too much branding for a case like that. It's one thing to print branding on the inside of the case or a small logo on the side, and to be honest, now looking at it, this is a huge logo, but it's another one to just plaster it with text. I think they're missing the mark here and Spigen do better. And really, that's a bummer because the case overall is actually good. Especially if you like the softer, bendy material that this case is made from, but you don't want to trust your brand new iPhone with a case that costs 99 cents. So what about the other clear case that Spigen makes? Is it any better? So this is Spigen's Ultra Hybrid case and it comes in at $24.49. This one is made from mostly hard plastics, just like the Apple case, by the way. But I say mostly because unlike the Apple case, this one has a hard back, but softer sides, which improves its grip. And personally, I think that is a good call and it makes for generally a higher quality case. Plus, I cannot believe I'm saying this, but Spigen did it again. There's logos all over this thing. I mean, Spigen, stop it. You got a solid case collection here, but stop printing this stuff all over it. Luckily, there's one more case that is not only the most expensive, though not by much, but it's also the one that I would recommend if you want a clear case without MagSafe. I have to be honest with you, I never heard about this case maker before researching this video. But this is the Casology Skyfall and it comes in at just 1 cent more than Spigen's Ultra Hybrid at $24.50. And this is my favorite clear case of all the ones I tested in this video for 3 reasons. First, this case is made from a harder plastic at the back and then a softer plastic on the sides, just like Spigen's Ultra Hybrid. This alone gives it a great grip, but it doesn't end there. Because then Casology also added a rough texture around the sides, which is not super visible or annoying at least, but it drastically improves the grippiness of this case. This case will never slip out of your hand, I guarantee it. And then finally, the case only has very minimal branding. On the side you can see the Casology logo and then on the back you see a very minimal graphic logo. I could definitely live without this, don't get me wrong, but the higher quality cases will always have branding, there's no way around it. Plus there's some almost invisible product name printed on the inside of the camera cutout, which you cannot see from the outside. And this is how it's done, Spigen. But regardless of the price of these cases, they all have one fatal flaw that to me makes them almost impossible to use. And that problem is the camera control cutout. The button itself requires some getting used to because it is really quite sensitive. You're supposed to be able to slide your finger over it effortlessly and very specifically half or double half press or press it through. And this is quite uncomfortable to use with non-Apple cases because the Apple cases, they have this camera button flush to the case. So your finger just naturally rests on top of it. All the third-party cases with their cutout don't, and again, that makes it quite unnatural and uncomfortable to use. There are a bunch of options from Apple though, and many of them I reviewed in this video, which you should watch next.